You ever hear about the house at the edge of town? Not the old rickety shack everyone whispers about. I'm talking about the other one, the one without a single window, the one that swallows light and time and sometimes even people. People drive past it and their eyes just slide off like the world refuses to remember it exists. But if you're curious, or unlucky, you'll notice it. And if you're really, really stupid, you'll go inside. I was stupid. Stupid and reckless, and apparently adventurous enough to drag 3 of my closest friends along. Alex, the loud one, always cracking jokes, laughing too much, too often. Mark, the tall guy with that serious look, the one who pretends nothing scares him but jumps at shadows. Lisa, the nervous one with a grin that never fully reaches her eyes, the type who sees something and can't stop looking over her shoulder. And then me, the idiot, the storyteller, the one who thought it would be funny to tempt fate. We thought it would be fun. Just a late-night adventure. Some stupid adrenaline rush to brag about later. Nothing serious. But that night, everything changed. The path to the house was rough, dirt-packed, and lined with weeds taller than our knees. The moonlight barely broke through the branches of the surrounding trees. There was a silence around us, not the comfortable kind you get in forests at night. This silence was heavy, expectant, like the world was holding its breath. We saw it then, standing there at the edge of a small clearing. 4 walls, a crooked roof, no windows. One black door, perfectly ordinary, yet somehow alive. Lisa's voice was barely a whisper. How do people even live without windows? None of us answered, because deep down we already knew. Nobody lived there. Not anymore. The door was unlocked. That's the thing that sticks with me the most. No lock, no chain, just open. Waiting. A trap disguised as an invitation. We stepped inside. At first it seemed normal. Dust hung in the air, stirred by our movement. The faint beam of Alex's flashlight slicing through the darkness. But the walls, they weren't walls. Not exactly. They felt soft under our hands, like the house itself had skin. And somehow, it was watching. Alex tried to joke, like he always did when tension spiked. Vampires? Really? Couldn't afford windows? His laugh died instantly, because the house didn't echo. Our voices vanished. The rooms twisted as we moved. Doors led to hallways that bent impossibly. Staircases went down, only to end at blank walls, and hallways looped back on themselves. It was like the house had no rules, like reality itself was optional inside. Then came the first anomaly. Mark stopped in the middle of a corridor, his flashlight trembling. "Did anyone else hear that?" he asked. We all froze, and then it started. Footsteps, slow, dragging, echoing behind us. But when we spun around, nothing. The corridor was empty. Whispers, soft, everywhere and nowhere. We couldn't understand the words at first. Then they grew familiar. Voices we recognized. "Help me." I recognized it. Mark. But not exactly Mark. Something twisted his voice, stretched it thin, made it sound like it came from inside the walls themselves. We ran, of course. Who wouldn't? But the house was ready. Doors disappeared when we reached them. Hallways twisted to trap us in circles, and shadows moved independently of our flashlights. And that was only the beginning. We had barely taken a few steps deeper into the house when the first real change hit us. The air thickened, pressing against our lungs, yet somehow it smelled faintly of decay and old wood. Not rot exactly, but something wrong, like the house was alive and breathing us in. Alex whispered nervously, "Guys, this isn't funny anymore." I wanted to laugh. Really, I did. But the walls started to move. Not physically, at least not at first glance. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the floor. Hallways bent around corners that shouldn't exist. A staircase twisted upward, then down again, leading back to the same hallway we just left. We tried to stick together. It was impossible. Each room seemed to have its own logic, or lack thereof. And then came the whispers. At first, soft, like 100 tiny voices breathing behind our ears. Then louder. Voices we recognized. Words we had never spoken. Threats we hadn't made. Secrets we had never shared. Why did you leave me? Don't trust them! Run or stay. Mark's flashlight flickered. His hand shook. I think it knows us. It knows what we're afraid of. We laughed at first, nervously. But the laughter died quickly. Something was following us. Not seen, but felt. A pressure at our backs. A shadow moving just beyond our peripheral vision. A cold brush of air that wasn't wind. And then the first disappearance. Mark. Gone. 1 second he was next to me, muttering about his flashlight dying. The next, a scream. Silent, but stretching across the walls, and nothing. Just nothing. No echo. No body. Not a trace. We screamed his name. My voice cracked. Alex's flashlight beam flailed wildly across the walls, catching faces. Human faces. Pressed into plaster and wood. Mouths open. Eyes wide, all screaming silently. Mark, his eyes locked with ours, pleading, terrified, and then gone again. Lisa clutched my arm. It's taking us, she whispered. Her eyes darted to every wall, every shadow. It's building us, making us part of it. I didn't want to believe her, but then I felt it. The walls pulsing under my fingers, software like skin, and our faces, reflected back in the shadowy corners. Not our real faces. Twisted, distorted, older, scarred, scream etched across them like carved masks. Alex tried to joke, to lighten it. Maybe it just likes us? He stopped mid-laugh as his shadow stretched along the wall, moving without him, smiling cruelly. Time began to collapse. Our phones went haywire. Mine blinked 3:17. Lisa's read 11:11. Alex's flickered between 21:40 and 2:50. And every time we checked, it seemed to get worse. The house wasn't just alive, it remembered. It knew us. Every fear, every regret, every lie. The corridor split. We argued, trying to decide which way to go, but each path led us in circles, and each turn brought new horrors. Shadows of ourselves, old friends who weren't really there, whispers that felt like they came from our own skulls. We tried to call out to Mark. Nothing. Just the walls, the shadows, the whispers. Then came the hallucinations. Each of us saw someone else's fear manifested. Alex saw the face of a girl he had hurt years ago, laughing at him, pointing. Lisa saw her childhood bully, aged and grotesque, reaching out from the walls. Me? I saw myself. Old, gray, twisted, screaming silently behind a wall that shouldn't exist. The house was teaching us, torturing us, feeding on our minds. We ran, tried to stick together, failed. Every corridor ended where it started. Every door vanished. Every hallway bent like it had a heartbeat. And the whispers became voices, pleading, accusing, warning. Then the second disappearance, Lisa. One moment screaming, the next swallowed by a wall, leaving only her reflection etched in plaster. Alex and I stumbled forward, fighting panic, fighting disbelief. The house laughed, soft at first, then louder, echoing in our bones. And we realized the truth. We weren't escaping. We were being reshaped. Slowly. Our bodies, our minds, our very essence were being pulled into the walls, into the shadows, into something beyond comprehension. And as we ran, Alex finally stopped. His flashlight beam caught a wall that wasn't a wall. It was a mirror, and in it, I saw myself, but not me. Older, gray-haired, eyes hollow, mouth open in a silent scream. The house wasn't done with us yet. By now, the house had fully revealed itself. Not a simple abandoned structure, but a predator. Alive. Watching. Waiting. It didn't just trap us. It was reshaping reality. Folding corridors, twisting rooms, bending floors like rubber. Every step we took was preordained by its cruel design. We were screaming, running blindly, trying to stick together. But each corridor became a trap. Doors disappeared before we could reach them. Shadows moved independently of our flashlights, and in the dark corners, faces emerged. Not static, not dead, but twisted versions of us. Older, screaming, contorted. I saw Mark first, or what was left of him. His reflection pressed into the wall, mouth open, eyes wide, screaming without sound. I reached out. My hand went through him, into the wall, and then the wall pulsed, alive, as if it had swallowed him whole. Lisa's face appeared in the hallway, pale and twisted. It's everywhere, she whispered. But the voice wasn't hers. It was mine, echoing, mocking. Alex ran past, eyes wide. He screamed, but no sound came. His shadow on the wall stretched toward me, independent, grotesque, clawing at my chest. I staggered back, hitting a wall that wasn't solid. It rippled, and I felt hands push against me from inside. Cold, wet, unrelenting. Time didn't exist anymore. Clocks blinked impossible hours. My phone showed 99.99. Alex's 0000. Lisa's 1313. We couldn't tell night from day, seconds from hours. And then came the whispers, hundreds of them, pleading, screaming, laughing, accusing. Names we hadn't spoken aloud, memories we tried to bury. The house had learned us, learned our fears, learned our sins. Another disappearance. Alex this time. 1 second he was beside me. The next, his scream echoed in a corridor that wasn't there before. I tried to follow, but the floor bent like liquid, swallowing me up to my knees. And the walls had eyes now. Watching, judging, waiting. Lisa grabbed my arm. It's pulling us in. It's making us part of it. Her eyes were wide with terror, reflecting shadows that weren't ours. I saw my own reflection in a blackened doorway. My hair gray, face wrinkled, eyes hollow. But I wasn't 50 yet, not by a long shot. The house was showing me the future, my own decay, already present in its walls. The corridors looped infinitely. Faces of strangers pressed against walls, screaming silently. Mouths forming words I couldn't read. But I understood. They were us. Every lost soul that had entered before. Every scream, every tear, every ounce of fear. All trapped, all becoming part of the house. And then I felt it. The house breathing me in. My chest tightened, my limbs ached, my mind began to fracture. The whispers became voices, Mark, Lisa, Alex, calling my name, laughing, accusing. I couldn't tell them apart. I couldn't tell reality from nightmare. The walls pulsed, shapes formed, fingers, claws, faces, writhing, reaching. I ran, barely aware of the path, stumbling over my own shadow, which had detached and was now writhing like a living thing. And then, I realized something horrifying. The house didn't just trap us in space, it trapped us in time. Every hallway, every corner, every door. It was a memory, a fear, a future nightmare, all merged into one living maze. I screamed, not for help, not for escape. I screamed because I knew the house would keep going, long after we were gone, long after our bodies decayed. It would remember us, wear us, rewrite us into its walls. We were running toward nothing, away from everything, swallowed by shadows, chased by our own faces. And the house laughed. Soft at first, then deafening, echoing through every corridor, every wall, every whisper. And I knew, with terrifying clarity, the collapse was complete. The house had us. The house was relentless. Every corridor we ran down folded back on itself. Every door we tried vanished before our hands could grasp the knob. But somehow, there was a sense of direction. Faint, almost cruelly teasing us. An exit. I think we can get out, Lisa whispered, voice shaking. Alex didn't answer. He was already ahead, darting down a hallway that bent impossibly, leading somewhere familiar, yet wrong. Mark was gone. Pulled, swallowed, reshaped. The house had claimed him fully. We followed, hearts hammering, breath shallow. The shadows moved faster now. Faces appeared in walls, windows that didn't exist, staring, screaming, pleading. Our own faces reflected back in blackened doorways, older, twisted, screaming silently. The house was showing us the future of what we could become. I felt it. Walls pressing in, corridors folding like origami. And yet, an open door, dim light spilling through. Hope, a flicker of reality outside its grasp. "Here," Lisa shouted, but the hallway twisted again, turning into a staircase that spiraled downward, seemingly endless. Alex's flashlight flickered, casting moving shadows on walls that weren't walls, ceilings that weren't ceilings. We ran, past the stairs, past mirrors that reflected us with gray hair, eyes hollow, faces screaming. We stumbled into a room with no floor, or perhaps a floor that was too thin, revealing infinite darkness beneath. The house wasn't letting us go. It was testing us, stretching our minds, breaking our senses. I saw Mark, older, twisted, reaching for me, eyes pleading. I tried to grab him, but my hands went through nothing. "Don't let it take you," Lisa screamed, grabbing my arm, pulling me toward the exit, or the illusion of one. And then we saw it. The doorway. Dim light beyond. Real light. The cold night air. Freedom. We ran, heart pounding, lungs burning. Every shadow stretched to block us. Every whisper screamed. Every wall pulsed like a living heartbeat. We burst through. The night was silent. Real. The house loomed behind us, dark and still, but watching. Waiting. We looked at each other. Relief, disbelief, shaking, gasping, alive. Then we caught our reflections. Hair gray, skin sagging, eyes hollow. 50 years older, though no time had passed outside. The house had aged us, etched its horrors into our bodies, our faces, our very souls. We were free, but not really, because in the distance, shadows moved, faces pressed to walls that weren't there. Whispers drifted through the trees, and on the ground, a photograph of us, young, smiling, outside the house. But behind us, a shadow, grinning, alive, watching, waiting. The escape wasn't escape. The house never lets go. We staggered into the night, cold air burning our lungs. The house loomed behind us, black and silent, yet alive. It didn't chase us. It didn't need to. We were already trapped in the years it had stolen. Lisa, Alex, and I collapsed on the grass, trembling. We looked at each other, hair white, skin wrinkled, hands gnarled like old tree roots, faces hollow, eyes wide with disbelief. 50 years, Alex whispered, voice trembling. How? I couldn't answer. The house had claimed our youth, stitched our fear into our very bodies, left us walking monuments of its horror. And yet, we were alive. Somehow, we had escaped the walls, the corridors, the twisting rooms. Or had we? A soft rustle of leaves, a shadow moving in the corner of my eye. I turned. Nothing. Then a whisper, almost a breath. "You're not done yet." We froze. The photo we had picked up from the ground trembled. Young versions of us smiled from the frame, but the shadow behind us grinned wider, taller, stretching into the night. Watching. Waiting. Lisa shivered. "It's still there." "Yes," I said. "And it always will be." We got to our feet, shokily. Every movement reminded us of our frailty. Our bodies no longer belonged to the present. They belonged to the years stolen by that place. We walked away, step by step, not daring to look back. But in the distance, between the trees, the house seemed to pulse. Walls shifted, shadows moved. A door opened, then closed, like a heartbeat. Alive. Patient. Hungry. We understood finally. We had survived the night. But the house never lets go. It waits. Always. And someday, someone else would see it. Someone else would enter, and the cycle would continue. As we disappeared into the darkness of the forest, the whispers followed, soft and insistent, curling around the wind, wrapping around the trees. "Come in. We're waiting. It's your turn now." The house without windows had claimed us, shaped us, aged us, and yet it was still hungry. And we were forever its witnesses.